What's up, everybody, and welcome to another year, another season of Drop Balls Podcast. Happy New Year. We finally made it to 2021. Let's make this year great. Let's go harder than we did last year and just keep grinding, keep persevering. 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people. It was rough. I understand that. It was a hard year. And my condolences goes out to everybody that lost family members last year. But let's keep going. Together we can accomplish great things. Let's keep going. Let's build on top of the things that did happen in 2020. A lot of eyes were open. I've started seeing a lot of things on my Facebook that I've been saying for years, but now I see people are finally seeing it. I mean, I was called not crazy, but I just had my opinions, and I'm starting to see that a lot of people are now getting it. So like my mom said, 2020 was the year of vision. It was the year of 2020 vision. It was a year of clarity. So let's get it, man. 2021 is here. Let's keep grinding. Let's build on last year. Let's continue to do great things. Let's continue to make our country greater, make our country better for ourselves and for our little ones and our little ones' children when they come into play, and everything. So like, united we stand, divided we fall. So let's keep that going. Let's change some things. Let's make our government change some things. Like we gotta stick into this together. Now, this ain't a political show. This is all about sports. So we're gonna get into that in a minute. But I do want to say, like, we're here in 2021. Let's make the best of it. Let's go harder than we did last year. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep going. Let's keep persevering. Let's push each other. That's all it's about. Just pushing each other to be great. I want to see everybody great. I want to see everybody successful. I want to see all of that. But I do have a great episode for y'all today. And before we get started in that, I do want to let you all know this episode is being brought to you by Black Elephant. Now, you see, I do have on my Black Elephant gear. Let me get up in the camera. If you're reading this, it's too late. Or if you're reading this, you're too close. It's from, the Drake album cover. If you're reading this, it's too late. But yeah, if you're reading this, you're too close. Back, give me my 6 feet. So go ahead and check out blackelephantbrand.com. There is a sale going on right now until January 8th. 15% off of everything in the store. So go ahead and visit blackelephantbrand.com. You don't need no discount code, no nothing. You just visit the website, get what you want, and the discount is automatically applied in your shopping cart. So go ahead and do that. I will put the link in the description. Also, this podcast is being brought to you by Thrive Fantasy app. If you like making prop bets, download the Thrive Fantasy app today. It is available on Apple iTunes and on your Google Play Store. So go there, download the Thrive Fantasy app, and they take all the research out of it because they only ask you questions on the top tier players in their respective sports. So when you download the app, you sign up, make sure to use the code DROPBALLS. And once you make your first deposit, they'll match you up to $50. So use the code DROPBALLS, and they'll match you up to $50 after you make your first deposit. So, you deposit your $20, you get $20. You deposit $30, you get $30, and so on and so forth, up to $50. So be sure to take advantage of that. We got the NFL playoffs coming up. We got NBA is back. Baseball is start sometime soon this year. So go ahead and download the app today and get to making bets. Also, I got my own version of Twisted Tea here. I know hopefully everybody saw the video that's been going viral all over the place, but got my little version of Twisted Tea here, a little bit of whiskey and some half and half, half and half lemonade, half tea. So, Twisted Tea, I need one of them sponsorships, man. Y'all gotta sponsor your boy. I made a video on TikTok just for y'all. Y'all gotta sponsor your boy. Give me some sponsorship, man. But anyway, like I said, I got a good episode for y'all today. Talk about Jalen Hurts versus the Cowboys, the Indianapolis Colts meltdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second half. Y'all know that broke my heart, man. That had me sitting here sad, all types of stuff, man. Then we got the Seahawks, who dominated the Rams late in that second half of their game for the divisional title. Tom Brady and Tampa, they seem to be vibing. I don't know if it's they've been playing sorry teams or if they just, they're getting it together now. And did Aaron Rodgers secure his third MVP from, I believe it was a Saturday night game against the Tennessee Titans in the snow in Green Bay, in Lambeau, what better game to have in Lambeau than a snowy game? Alvin Kamara rushing for 6 touchdowns in that Christmas Day game against the Minnesota Vikings. And we're also going to talk about Mahomes and their win against the Atlanta Falcons. First, I want to go into the whole Jalen Hurts thing. Now, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, they did lose to Andy Dalton and the Dallas Cowboys. One thing I do have to say now, Dallas, y'all go ahead and y'all re-sign Andy Dalton and Indy, because Phillip Rivers might retire after Sunday if we don't make the playoffs, you know. So Indy, y'all go ahead and y'all offer Dak some money. We need a franchise quarterback. We need a young franchise quarterback. Now I know I was talking about Carson Wentz. I was talking about Sam Darnold from the Jets, but it seems like the Jets are going to go ahead and keep Sam Darnold because they lost that first overall pick by winning 2 games late in the season. So they'll probably drop the offensive lineman from Oregon. But yeah, go ahead and offer that, because we seem like we're not going to get neither one of those. We're not going to get Wentz. Wentz is just too much. And Philly, I don't think is going to I don't think they're going to try to trade him and take that cap hit. And also, it looks like Sam Darnold is going to be staying with the New York Jets. But we'll see. We shall see what happens. But yeah, Indy, go ahead and send that money to Dak. We need a franchise quarterback. That ankle injury ain't gonna be that serious. He gonna be back to doing what he was doing. So we gonna be good there. And yeah, just go ahead and make it do what it do. But anyway, so Jalen Hurts, they played against the Dallas Cowboys. They lost that game. Andy Dalton balled out. Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to say he had a terrible game, and I'm looking up the stats right now because I don't memorize this stuff, man. I can't memorize everything. But he had a pretty good game. Now, I know I said with Jalen Hurts, they're going to figure him out after a while because, you know, once they start finally getting some game tape on you, they can kind of start defenses can start zoning in on you. They can start figuring you out. And so it's the same like with Lamar Jackson. He balled out last year. But by the time playoffs came, they found a way to take things away. Even now this year, what they do is they try to funnel everything to the numbers, out, you know, numbers and sideline. So they want him to make throws outside the numbers, because anything inside the numbers and, you know, inside the hashes, anything in the middle of the field, Lamar Jackson feels comfortable making those throws. But when it's outside the numbers, he struggles with those throws. So teams have figured that out with Lamar Jackson. And teams are going to start figuring out Jalen Hurts. Now, he had that good game against the New Orleans Saints. I forget who they played last week. The week before this one. But then when they played the Cowboys, they lost 37-17. Now, Jalen Hurts had, I think, 2 turnovers. He had an interception where I looked at the interception. I'm like, bro, where are you throwing the ball to? Because it made no sense whatsoever. But, oh, yeah, he had 2 interceptions. So one of the interceptions was late in the game. The other one was, I believe he was trying to scramble, and then he threw it up in the end zone, and it was picked off. Something like that. So Jalen Hurts, he threw 2 interceptions, and he had a fumble. One of the fumble, I don't believe should have been a fumble, because if you look at the video, both knees were down before the ball started to move and come out. So that shouldn't have been a fumble, and they should have kept the ball. And honestly, it would have been like 2nd and maybe 5 had they not called it a fumble. They even reviewed it and still called it a fumble, which makes no sense, because the whole point of the review is to make sure that you got the call right. And if anybody watched that review or watched the replay, they could tell that they did not get the call right. So I don't even understand why the refs would even go that far to save themselves and say that they got the call right when they know they didn't. But anyway, I digress. And so, yeah, Jalen Hurts, he threw for 342 yards. He was 21 for 39, which is about, let's see here. Let's do some quick math. 53%, and it ain't too good. Well, 54%, it's 53.8. We round up. But it ain't too good on the completion percentage. But like I said, he threw 39 times, 342 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 69 yards and had no touchdown, so he averaged about 7.7 yards a run. So he had about a 300 or 400 and something yard game. What is it? 411 yard game, and 1 touchdown, 3 turnovers. So I mean that the turnovers were bad, but really it should have been probably 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers. That fumble, that shouldn't have been on him. That shouldn't have been a fumble in the first place. Now Andy Dalton, on the other hand, he did some work. Now I'm not saying he is their franchise quarterback or he is the answer to the Dallas Cowboys franchise, because he spent his career with the Bengals and they did nothing his whole career. But I will say the Bengals were really not set up to do anything. They really weren't that good while he was there. But he's starting to find his vibe with Dallas. He's starting to find his groove, it looks like, with Dallas. He went out there through 30 times, completed 22 passes, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So he did his thing out there and led them to the win. And now Dallas is set up to potentially win the division and make the playoffs. And so I know we're probably going to have some Dallas fans saying, oh, how about them Cowboys? Them Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. But hold your horses, because Dallas is not going to the Super Bowl. They'll probably get embarrassed just like any team from the NFC East if they do make the playoffs. They're going to host a playoff game, and it'll most likely be against one of the wild card teams. So let's see who the wild cards would be. Right now you have, let's see, it's 7 teams. So right now you have Chicago, the Rams, and Tampa. Those are the 3 wild card teams, my bad. So they'll be playing either New Orleans, Seattle, or Washington, or the Cowboys. And most likely they'll be going against Tampa Bay, who seems, like I said, Tom Brady and Tampa Bay seem to be clicking lately. Once again, I don't know if that's because they've been playing sorry teams or is it because they're actually clicking. I was watching that game and I heard them say something about, them being able to, because in Florida, it's hot, man. Like, it's hot. And so around this time of the year, it starts to mellow out a little bit. You don't have as much humidity. It's not as warm outside. And so they're starting to be able to practice outside, and he's starting to be able to work with the receivers more after practice or before practice and stuff like that. So because when it's extra hot, you don't want to go out there and do none of that extra work. My bad, I got some chapped lips right now. I gotta go ahead and rub this on. But yeah, you don't want to be practicing outside and doing more than what you really need to do when it's that hot outside. But these last few games they've been rolling. So if Dallas makes the playoffs or if Washington makes the playoffs, they're going to have to play Tampa Bay in the first round. And now Washington has a good defense. Tampa Bay, their defense is pretty good too. Washington's offense is pedestrian at best. But if Dallas makes it, because I believe Dallas has to win, they need Washington to lose. And they need New York to lose. Or actually, even if New York wins or loses or whatever, they still make it. So really it's between Dallas and Washington, in my opinion. Unless they all lose and then New York wins. Then that's a different story. But yeah, so Dallas has to win. Washington has to win. And then Dallas goes to the playoffs at 7-9. And as of right now, it seems like Andy Dalton and that offense is clicking. This past game against Philly. Now, Philly is a terrible team. They're horrendous. But against Philly, Andy Dalton had 370 yards. I'm bringing up the stats again right now. He completed over 60% of his passes, I believe. 73% of his passes. He had 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Zeke came out there, ran for 105 yards, and Zeke actually looked like he was fighting for yards, because there was some that looked like they were going to be like 2, 3, 4, 5 yard losses, and Zeke ended up not breaking, but he ended up getting like at least 2 yards on some of those carries, so which is good for him, because he looked like he was trying this game. He looked like he was bringing it this game. He realized something's on the line, and he's trying to go out there and get it. And that could be because he saw Tony Pollard last week go out there and do some work. And so he looked like he was trying to get into it. But then you see Amari Cooper had 4 receptions for 121 yards. You saw Michael Gallup had 6 receptions for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then CeeDee Lamb had 3 receptions, 65 yards, and 1 touchdown. So their offense came to play. And their defense came to play as well. They forced turnovers, something we haven't really seen Dallas defense do the whole season. Now, I'm not saying they're this great defense, and I don't know what's going on, but my nose is itching. For y'all that's watching on YouTube, I know y'all see that. But defense forced turnovers. They had interceptions, forced fumble, and everything like that. So they went out there and did what it did as well. They also had, 3 sacks on the day, I believe. So we know Philly's offensive line is terrible. We know their offense is pedestrian. Yes, they started Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts lit a fire up under them for a few, but teams are starting to figure him out. They got a couple games on him. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be sorry by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. He's just going to need to develop and need to work on some things, but I think he's going to be good. He's going to do that. He's probably going to go work on the offseason. Because Philly's not making the playoffs, so he's gonna go do work on the offseason, and he's gonna come back and he's gonna be a pretty good quarterback. But teams are gonna figure him out because he's a dual threat quarterback, so they're gonna force him to do one or the other. They're gonna find things to take away from him that's gonna force him to make other reads and try to make other throws. And as long as he continues to develop, then that should be easy. And that's the same thing I say about Lamar Jackson, is that they just need to develop. And once they develop, then it's going to be easy for them. They're going to get it done. While we're on the whole subject of development, there's a quarterback that just got cut, Dwayne Haskins. He got cut by the Washington football team. I believe it was the day before. When was it? I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I believe it was Tuesday. He got cut by the Washington football team. And now I was a critic of Dwayne Haskins just because his maturity. So my issue was they lost the game against the Seattle Seahawks, and it was a close game. Had they scored a touchdown, they would have won. It was that close of a game, and it was a really good game. Defense played lights out. Dwayne Haskins in the second half showed some flashes that he knew what he was out there doing. Like, he knew what he was doing. But after that loss, he went to the strip club. Now, my thing is, and, I caught flack for this from some people that, because he's young. I believe he's like 21, 23, somewhere between there. He's young and everything. But my thing is, okay, you're a first-round draft pick. You're a quarterback. And not only that, but you're a black quarterback. We don't have a lot of black quarterbacks in the NFL because every time a black quarterback comes about, they think that they can put him in a different position. Like, we look at Lamar Jackson when he got drafted, they wanted him to switch to receiver and stuff like that because of his skill set, and he said no, which rightfully so. So with Dwayne Haskins, you're a black quarterback, you're young. This franchise took you with. The coaches didn't want to take him, but upper management was like, hey, the owners, all of them was like, y'all need to pick this guy. So they take him in the first round, and he starts this season. During the offseason, there was things that looked like he was putting it all together. He was learning coverages. He was able to tell you what you do on this coverage and all this and all that as a quarterback, which is good. He started this season, got benched for Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen got hurt. Then Alex Smith came in. Alex Smith got hurt. And now Dwayne Haskins finds himself back in the starting situation. So they lose against the Seattle Seahawks. Instead of going and studying film and trying to figure out how can I get better, how can I be better for my team to help us win these close games, to help us get out of these situations and pull out these games, how can I be better as a quarterback, as a franchise quarterback for my team, and show my team that I'm a franchise quarterback and that I have matured and I have grown. Instead of doing that, he was at a strip club. And video surfaced of him being at the strip club with no mask. Now, some people may be like, oh, well, he shouldn't have to wear a mask anyway, this, that, and the third, because blah, 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 whatever. But we're in a pandemic. We're in COVID. So not only this, but your coach just, finished chemo for his cancer. The league has cracked down about the whole COVID protocols and everything, right? So to me, that's irresponsible. That's immature. And it's not even, I mean, it's the fact that, for one, you should have been studying your game film and studying how you can get better. You're $1 million athlete. You're making millions of dollars to play a kid's game. Now, I'm always for the athletes getting their money, and I'm always for that, because a lot of athletes, they give back, they do all types of things. So I'm always for athletes getting their money. So don't get that misconstrued. But you get paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game, and a game that you love, that I love, and you're making this money, and all you got to do is go to work and show up and produce on the field. That's all you got to do, and be responsible. But being out at a strip club with no mask after a loss, after a close loss too, that y'all could have won, and not only that, but y'all are in position to make the playoffs. Y'all are fighting for your division. Yes, you're gonna make the playoffs at 7-9, but you're fighting for your division. And actually, potentially, you probably could have made it at 8-8 had you won the game last week against the Carolina Panthers, who are not that good. So your coach just finished his chemo. So not only did you put him at risk, because right now he's he's compromised. I can't even say the word right now, but his immune system's low. He's compromised right now. So that could harm him, and you put your teammates and their families at risk as well. So that shows immaturity and everything. And after that, they after that loss, they cut him because he came back and didn't do anything, didn't do a damn thing in this game that they just played against the Carolina Panthers. He looked terrible, had turnovers and everything. He looked terrible. And I saw Booger McFarland getting a lot of flack for the things that he said on air about, because they were like, oh, well, you singled out black players. Every player does this. Every player tries to come into the league and build their brand. That is true. But this league is made up of 70% African Americans, black kids. And I say kids because most of them are younger than me, besides, the old heads that's been in there about 17 years, 10 plus years. But they're kids. And and what he said was that, we gotta be better. And for me, it's like, when a black person is calling out another black person, that shouldn't be looked to as cooning or whatever you want to call it. Like, if I'm calling you out, it's because I want to see you do better. I want to see you succeed. I want to see Dwayne Haskins succeed. We don't have a lot of black quarterbacks. So we make up 70% of the league, and we got maybe like 5 black quarterbacks that are actually starters. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. That's 3. So, I mean, like, well, Jalen Hurts, so that's 4 now, because Jalen Hurts is the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. But we have 4 starting quarterbacks in 32 teams in a game where we make up 70% of the players. We all know black quarterbacks have a shorter leash than their white counterparts. Fine. So even though everybody else is doing it, does that mean it's okay for us to do it? No, it doesn't. So it's like, what Booger McFarland was saying is that, he wants Dwayne Haskins to be successful. But to these black athletes, you got to tell them, hey, look, man, you're on a short leash when you get into the NFL. Especially when you're playing the quarterback position, the most important position on the football field. Especially in the NFL. They get paid the big bucks for a reason. So you're on a short leash. And especially being a black quarterback. Now, we've seen Johnny Manziel. We've seen him get kicked out the league because of his antics and everything. And he hasn't gotten another chance. But, I mean, Dwayne Haskins, this happened to him in 1 3/4 of a year. Johnny Manziel at least got to play out his second season. So it's one of those things where I don't understand why he took so much flack, because he called out some ignorance. And that's one thing we got to change in the black community, that we can't be afraid to call each other out and make sure that we're doing better. Like, if I call you out, then that's because I want to see you do better. I don't want to see you continue to fail or continue to put yourself at risk and others at risk because you're out here doing something dumb when you have this great opportunity to be something great. So we got to get out that mentality where oh, we can't say anything about each other. Nah, Booger McFarland did what he needed to do because he wanted to see the young brother succeed and the young brother do what he needed, because he might have ruined his career, his NFL career now. And so Booger McFarland called him out on it because he wants to see him do better. But anyway, we're going to move on from that as well. But I hope Dwayne Haskins gets it together. I hope he, somebody finds the right situation to go to as far as team that'll work with him and that'll help him grow. I hope that he has people around him. Same thing I said with AB when AB was getting into all that trouble, that he has people around him that can call him out on his stuff, can get his mind right, can get him in the right situations, in the right spots, and making the right decisions. So I just hope that for Dwayne Haskins. I hope we can make that happen. I hope he can make that happen. Hope his team around him can make that happen. So that way we can see him being successful in the NFL and doing what he wants to do as far as being an athlete. So now I'm gonna move on to Indy, man. Like, I watched that Indianapolis Colts game and I was happy. First half, we up I think it's 21-7 or something like that, 24-7 in the first half, 24-7 in the first half. We rolling. We got Pittsburgh out here looking terrible. And I'm like, yeah, there we go. Second half, Pittsburgh comes out and I believe they what happened? They scored. I'm looking that up right now too, because I believe it was we scored, or no, we kicked the field goal, because I think we got the ball back at the halftime. We went down, kicked the field goal, right? Lovely. We go up 27-7. And let me make sure on the score, because I don't want to tell y'all nothing wrong. You know how I do. I like to check my stats, my facts. So where is it at? Scoring summary. All right, so yeah, we're up 21-7 halftime. We come out, kick the field goal, 24-7. Then Pittsburgh just goes on a run. 3 unanswered touchdowns. They scored on a 39-yard pass from Big Ben to Deontay Johnson. Then and the Colts had, like, I want to say 3 pass interference calls, 1 illegal contact call. The pass interference calls, okay, cool, whatever. But at that point, that changed the whole dynamic of the game. And the reason I say that is because when you're playing aggressive and you're allowed to play aggressive for the whole first half, and then you go into the second half doing that, and now they're calling penalties on you for being aggressive, then that softens up how you're playing. So if I'm playing aggressive coverage, aggressive man coverage, all this and all that, then now I'm getting called PIs because of hand fighting and all this other stuff. So now I'm going to back off a little bit. But now that gives a benefit to the receiver, because now the receiver ain't got to worry about that, and he can just run past you pretty much. And so they got 2 PI calls that put them into scoring position. They got 2 PI calls that put them into scoring position. So 2 of the PI calls happened in one drive. I believe it put Pittsburgh on like the 50 or something, and there was another PI the same drive that put them on like the 10 or 20 yard line. The next drive, they had a PI that put them down at like the 1 yard line. So that's 2 touchdowns right there just off of penalties alone. And that allowed Pittsburgh to come back into the game. I was asking at the beginning of the game, why Big Ben throwing everything underneath? Is his elbow hurting? What's going on? Second half, Big Ben started letting that thing go. And also second half, they started throwing the Claypool. I don't know why they wait so long to get Chase Claypool involved. That's your big body receiver. That's your big speedy receiver, and you waiting into the second half to get him involved in the game. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's what they did. And we lost the game and possibly lost a playoff spot because there's too many things that have to happen for us to get into the playoffs now. Either one team has to lose and we have to win, which I believe we played Jacksonville this weekend, which if we're playing Jacksonville Sunday, that's probably going to be a dub. I mean, we lost to them at the beginning of the season, but Jacksonville, they don't want to lose that Trevor Lawrence pick, which, I mean, really they secured it. So I don't really think they're going to be playing hard this week. But we play Jacksonville, and we got to beat the 1-14 Jacksonville Jaguars, which I suspect that we will do. And I hope that we would do. I hope we not going out there and losing to the Jaguars. Now, then you got the Seahawks. Seahawks just went out and they won their division. They beat the LA Rams. Jared Goff got hurt in that game. I believe he broke his thumb and like popped it back into place. I don't know. It was just crazy. It dislocated and he popped it back into place during the game. But there's no excuses on them losing that game. It was a tight game the whole game, and then second half, Seahawks did what they needed to do to get the dub. They always say Seahawks are a second half team, and they came out being a second half team this game. And so Seahawks won that game. They beat the LA Rams. They won the division, so they will get a home playoff game, which we don't have a crowd up here. We can't have people in the stands, so it really doesn't benefit them that much. But yeah, they get a home playoff game. And they'll probably be playing, I believe they might end up playing the Rams again. No lie, no cap. Might end up playing the Rams again because of the way the chips have fallen. Now, the Rams do need to win this weekend, and they're going to be playing without Jared Goff because he just had surgery on his thumb. So, let's look at these standings again real quick. Playoffs. So, we're looking at the playoffs. We got the Seahawks sitting there at number 3. They actually have a chance to, well, they might. Not really. I don't think they really do. But they're at number 3 right now, sitting at 11-4. I said they was going to finish at 11-5. They might finish at 12-4. Because they play the 49ers this weekend. But we'll see how that game goes. So they're sitting at 11-4. And let's see. New Orleans will play the worst team, which is Chicago. Seattle will play the Rams again. And then Washington play Tampa Bay. And that's how that'll fall. So they'll see the Rams for the 3rd time this year. And you know how those games always go with Seahawks and the Rams. They're always close, good games, defensive games. But this time they were able to run the ball. They were able to Russell Wilson didn't have his best game, which, I mean, he's fallen off really since week 5 after they lost it, or after they, since week 7, because they went on by week 6. Week 7, they came out and played Arizona, and that's where you could see that he was falling off. And that's what always happens with Russ is, he'll ball out for the first few games and be in the MVP conversation and then fall right out of it. But also, when I said that, I was called a hater. When I said that Russ was going to fall out of MVP conversation after that Arizona game, I was a hater, and I was told I was wrong. So I'm tooting my own horn because I called it. But yeah, so they play Arizona. They play the 49ers this weekend. They beat the Rams 20-9, so took the division. They did good there. Then we got, like I said, Tom Brady and Tampa. I spoke on this a little bit before, but they're vibing a little bit, at least over the last 2 games. Now, against good teams, Tampa Bay still struggles. Against sorry teams, they win. So I don't know how that's going to work for them in the playoffs. Now, it may help them get out the first round because they'll be playing Washington or Dallas. So they'll play against a trash team, and then they'll get to move on. But when they get into the playoffs, they are going to have to play better teams. And so I don't know how that's going to work for them. I mean, they beat the Vikings, they beat the Falcons, they beat the Lions. Those were those last 3 games this season. And the Falcons, they're coming off a game where they play the Falcons again this weekend. And they're coming off a game where they just held Patrick Mahomes and them to like 17 points. Now, I will say this. Tyreek Hill was on a pitch count. He only played like 20 snaps or something like that because of nursing a sore hamstring. Most likely won't play the last game of the season, so he'll be ready for the playoffs. But yeah, so Tom Brady and them get an Atlanta Falcons team that are probably confident in their abilities because of what they were able to do against the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see how that plays out this weekend. But like I said, they just beat the Lions, they beat the Falcons, they beat the Vikings. And even that game against the Falcons, they beat them 37-27, or 31-27, but the Falcons were winning the whole first half. And then in the second half, it was all Tom Brady, where he came out and threw for like 300 and something yards in the second half and helped them win the game. So I don't know. They're clicking lately, or they're just playing sorry teams and they look good. It's one or the other. And so now that takes me to our MVP race, because I just brought up Kansas City. We got Patrick Mahomes in one corner. We got Aaron Rodgers in another corner, especially after that game that he just had against Tennessee in the snow. Went out there and balled out, throwing the ball like to Devontae Adams. He only had one interception, but I think 4 touchdowns or something like that. Then we got Josh Allen in another corner, and some put Derrick Henry in there because Derrick Henry has carried the Tennessee Titans. Dude has like 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, and he's just been balling this season. But I will give y'all my MVP pick later on in the show when I give y'all my drop balls award show. But yeah, so we got these 3 guys, and let's just look at some stats, because this to me is a closer race than people may think, and especially because Josh Allen has improved. He's probably going to get most improved player this year or whatever, if they even give that award. I don't even think they give that award, but to me, he would be the most improved player this year. And the reason that is because when you look at his past 2 seasons, he's only 3 years in the league. First season, he completed 52% of his passes, or 52.8%. Second year, 58.8%. This year, Josh Allen has completed 69.1% of his passes. Now, it has helped because they have Stephon Diggs, and he has been a tremendous addition to that team. But Josh Allen's, everything Josh Allen does this year has gotten better. His decision making, his completion percentage, throwing the ball away, which goes under decision making, knowing when to take off and running, again, decision making. But he's gotten a lot better this year, and he's having a career year. So the guy has thrown 547 passes, completed 378, 69.1% completion percentage. He's thrown for 4,320 yards, which I believe puts him on like 4th or 5th on the list for yards in the season. 34 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. So he hasn't even had cracked double-digit interceptions, which is great. He has how many rushing yards? Because I know he's been running the ball too. 418 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. Not bad. I mean, he's done better in recent years. He had 510 last year and 631 last year with 8 and 9 touchdowns. So not bad at all compared to, any of the stats. But you can tell he's perfected his craft as a passer over the offseason, because look at the stats that he's put up, and look where his team is sitting. Like this year, he has a record of 12-3 through 15 games. They've only lost 3 games. So he's been balling. Now we got Aaron Rodgers, who he doesn't have the yards that, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have. But he has the touchdowns and the interception ratio. So, and the completion percentage. He's completed 70.3% of his passes, 4,059 yards, 44 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Only 5. 5 interceptions. Let that sink in. On 502 passing attempts. He has 119 QB rating. So he's balling. Their team is sitting very nicely right now at 12-3 as well, just like Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Then we have Patrick Mahomes, who I believe has spoiled us because, I hear everybody talking about, Kansas City looks beatable, this, that, and the third. But to me, I believe Kansas City just plays down. I think they do things to make the game harder, to challenge themselves, to see if they can pull it out. That's my honest opinion. I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. I don't think they're as beatable as people think they are. Let this sink in. This is only Patrick Mahomes. That game against the Atlanta Falcons is only his second game in 51 starts where he scored under 20 points. Or where that offense has scored under 20 points. Just let that sink in. Second game in 51 starts. I don't think they're as bad. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're that beatable. I think, I heard my boy Damian Adams on on the, I believe it's the 3rd and 3 podcast. I believe that's the name of it. I was listening to it today, or yesterday, but I believe that's the name of the 3rd and 3 podcast. And I'm once again making it sure because I want y'all to go listen to his great podcast. But yeah, 3rd and 3 podcast. It's all about football and everything. And he was saying that, what did he say? I want to make sure I get it right. Yeah, so my boy Damian Adams, he was, God dang, I can't even think about it now. I had it in my mind, and now I can't think about it. But it was about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and you know how they look beatable or whatever. But like I said, I'll get back to it because I'm sure I'll remember. But I believe that they just play down the talent. You know, they play down the talent and they see what they can do. I think the game is that boring to them that because they know they can go out there and score, 50 points. They can just go up there and put it up. Oh, that's what it was. The switch thing. He said that, football isn't like basketball where you can just switch it on in the playoffs. But honestly, I believe it is. Like, I believe teams do have a way, especially the good teams, they have a way to just switch it on in the playoffs. I mean, when you look at the playoffs, the game changes in the playoffs. You want to have a good run game and a good defense when you're in the playoffs. And I believe good teams, they're able to just switch it on where, I mean, we saw what Derrick Henry did last year in the playoffs, and we saw how Kansas City handled that in the playoffs. They were able to, because Derrick Henry was setting records, like going crazy in the playoffs, 200-yard games, 170-yard games, like stuff like that. And Kansas City came in and said, okay, Ryan Tannehill, you're going to beat us. But the thing with Kansas City now is that they added Le'Veon Bell. They still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we hope can come back by the playoffs or by the second round of playoffs because they're going to get that first round bye. And they still have Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, who will be good to go by the second round of the playoffs. Travis Kelce. Teams have been playing them with keeping everything in front. That's what Atlanta did. And, that worked for Atlanta until it didn't when Kansas City won. So, I just think they have a way of turning it on where it's like, okay, now let's just go win this game. Let's just go get it. We played around enough. Let's just go do what we do. Same thing happened in the Super Bowl last year when they played the 49ers. Like the 49ers was doing their thing. Kansas City, second half, Patrick Mahomes turned out being the MVP of the game. Let's just go do what we do. Let's go win this game. I think they do that to challenge themselves. That's honestly what I think. But anyway, let's get to Patrick Mahomes and his MVP case. So they're sitting with the best record in the NFL right now at 14-1. Patrick Mahomes is leading the NFL in passing yards with 4,740 yards on a 66.3% completion percentage. He has 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he has one more interception than Aaron Rodgers and 6 less touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. And he's going to be sitting out this weekend, so he's not going to crack 5,000, which if he played this weekend, I guarantee you he probably would have. But yeah, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he has less than Aaron Rodgers in the touchdowns and more interceptions than Aaron Rodgers. I believe Aaron Rodgers turnovers in general, he just has less, even fumbles. Because I believe, let's go back to Aaron Rodgers real quick. Where's his rushing stats? Here we go. Rushing stats for this year. He has 3 touchdowns rushing, which you add that's 47 touchdowns in total. And where's his fumbles? Because they should be up here. 4 fumbles. So altogether, he has, 9 turnovers this season? Yeah, 9 turnovers this season, 47 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, he has 6 interceptions and 5 fumbles. So he has 11. So he has less, more turnovers than Aaron Rodgers and everything. Josh Allen is somewhere around there too. He has 9 interceptions and he has 9 fumbles. So Josh Allen, to me, that the turnovers would put him out of the conversation, just because he has 18 turnovers. But he's still balling, so he should still be in that conversation. Now, another quarterback that should be in the conversation, but he's not because his team is terrible, is Deshaun Watson. And nobody can deny me that because Deshaun Watson is putting up a career year with shit. Like, that's what he has on his team is shit. And he's thrown for 4,400 yards, completed 71% of his passes, which is crazy. No, not 71. Yeah, hold on. Let me make sure. 70.1% of his passes. My bad. 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's been tremendous all year on with shit to play with on his team. But had his team been better, I guarantee you he'd be in the running. He'll be one of the 4 quarterbacks for MVP. Now, all right, moving on. And actually, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get to it. I'm going to talk about Kamara's 6 touchdown outing on Christmas. And I'm going to give you all my list of award winners for this season. I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. Let's get into this, man. Like, Kamara, this dude had, I think, 10 touchdowns on the season. Or, yeah, something like that. Before the Christmas game, he had 10 touchdowns on the season. And then he went out there and ran for 6. Or, no, he had 9 touchdowns on the – no? Yes, 10 touchdowns on the season. And then he went out there against the Minnesota Vikings, who just looked completely lost out there, and put up 6 of them things. And again, my boy Damian Adams from 3rd and 3 podcast and the Damian Adams podcast said that he could have had 7, but they brought Taysom Hill in to run one in on the goal line. And or the Real Deal with Damian Adams, my bad. Not the Damian Adams podcast, the Real Deal with Damian Adams podcast. But he brought this up and was saying how Alvin Kamara could have had 7 touchdowns, but it brought Taysom Hill in to run in and on the 1 yard line. And had Alvin Kamara got the 7 touchdown, then he would have broke the record for most touchdowns. And but this man had 6 touchdowns against Minnesota, and dude has absolutely, now he was on my list as top 10 running back in the NFL. After this season, especially with some of the injuries this year with Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and all of them, he might have moved up on my list after this season. Now, he didn't crack 1,000 yards again this season, but I mean, he's at 932, and now if he plays tomorrow or plays Sunday, then who knows? He might crack 1,000. But as of right now, he isn't at 1,000 yards. But just everything that he does for that offense and that he brings to that offense, the dynamic that he brings to that offense over there in New Orleans, he deserves to move up on the list. Like, he's a valuable asset in the league, and probably could do that on any team, and probably actually could do better on any team if he had the opportunity. But yeah, Kamara went out there and balled. I mean, I really have nothing to say about it. I just wanted to give that man his roses for that Christmas Day game. That's all I wanted to do. But now we're gonna get into my list of, we're gonna get the drop balls NFL awards. So first up, I'm bringing it up because I wrote my notes down on my phone. All right, so first award goes Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, I broke it up like this because, you know, I wanted to make sure everybody gets their credit. So we got Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I'm giving that to Justin Herbert. Now, the runners up for that, I can say, would be Justin Jefferson, receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, or Joe Burrow. But because of Joe Burrow's injury, I believe that's what pushed Justin Herbert forward. Now, Justin Herbert, he was thrusted into the starting position after Tyrod Taylor. You know, we all know what happened with Tyrod Taylor. So he was thrust into that position to become the starter. They didn't expect him to start this year, but he got into that position, and he answered a lot of those questions that the scouts needed answers to when they were scouting him for the NFL. Because they said that he wasn't a leader. They said that he that he flaked in the big games, and all of that. Didn't have the great decision making or whatever, but I believe he shut the doubters up. I mean, bro came in and threw for 66% or completed 66% of his passes. He threw for 4,000 yards in his rookie season, 28 touchdowns, and had 10 interceptions. Now, as a rookie, 10 interceptions, that's not really worrisome. He's a rookie. It's his first time playing NFL, and we know everybody's bigger, stronger, faster than they were in college. College game is so diluted. You have the best of the best in the NFL, and only the best of the best in the NFL that start. So you get the best of the best, and then even the best of that best are the starters. So, kudos to him. Hats off to Justin Herbert. You are the drop balls offensive rookie of the year. Next, we have the defensive rookie of the year. And, without further ado, we all know who that went to. That goes to Chase Young. And the reason it goes to Chase Young is because dude's a beast. And I'm pulling up his stats right now, so that way I can tell y'all what he has done. And, his stats don't jump off the page at you. But one thing I will tell you is that he's been double teamed a lot this season, which has opened up things for other players on his team. So like Montez Sweat or Josh Allen, all of those, or Jonathan Allen, my bad. All of those other dudes that are on the defensive line over there, because that's what Washington prides themselves on this season, is that defensive line, and that defensive line is stacked. So, but Chase Young's, he's been double teamed. The protection has slid his way to keep him from getting to the quarterback, but that opens up so much more for everybody else. And even with all of that, dude has forced or has recovered forced 4 fumbles and recovered 2 fumbles. I believe he only has 5 sacks. Let me make sure. 6.5 sacks. 42 or total tackles. He has 42 tackles and 9 tackles for loss and 9 QB hits. So Chase Young is my rookie of the year because everything that he brings to the or defensive rookie of the year, because everything he brings to the table and forces defenses to do, or forces offenses to do. And it just opens up so much more for his teammates. It's the same, the Aaron Donald effect. Like, you're a defensive tackle that gets double and triple teamed, but yet you still finish the year with double-digit sacks. That's what I can see Chase Young being at defensive end. Defensive player of the year goes to TJ Watt. Dude has been an absolute beast this year. He is the sack leader this year. And you just can't deny him can't deny him. He's been the lone star on that defense besides Minkah Fitzpatrick. But even then, like, TJ Watt, he's always in the backfield. He's always somewhere around the play. He's always making the big play. He I believe he has like 13 sacks. Or no, my bad. He has 15 sacks now. So he has 15 sacks. Aaron Donald's following him with 13.5. But so hats off to TJ Watt. He has 15 sacks for 112 yards. He has 7 passes defended, 1 interception. He's forced 2 fumbles. He hasn't recovered any. And he has 53 total tackles. So yeah, that goes to him. And I mean, and this goes to show you why Chase Young is so good. So if you look at TJ Watt's stats, and he has his 53 tackles, Chase Young had 42. Aaron Donald, probably the best defensive lineman in the league right now, he had 41 tackles. Hassan Reddick had 58 tackles. So yeah, and I mean, if we look at defensive ends that play his position, Chase Young's position, you got one sitting with 24 tackles, 12.5 sacks. That's Trey Hendrickson from New Orleans. You got Myles Garrett sitting at 44 tackles, 12 sacks. And these are like these dudes, like, they've been in the league for a little bit. So Chase Young will get there. He's going to get there. Now we get to our offensive player of the year. and that's none other than King Henry. Dude almost cracked the year after he got his contract, or he signed his little extension. 1,700 yards right now. That's where he's sitting at. 16 touchdowns. He's a beast. He's the epitome of a running back. He's what everybody would want their running back to be, is a Derrick Henry. Or actually, he has 15 touchdowns, so he's not quite there. And he only has one fumble. So you get all those carries. He's leading the league in carries at 344. You've touched the ball 344 times this season. Ryan Tannehill has thrown the ball 454 times. So just let that sink in a little bit on how much Derrick Henry is touching that ball. Averaging 5.2 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns, 1777 yards. He deserves Offensive Player of the Year. So he gets the drop balls, Offensive Player of the Year. Congratulations, Derrick Henry. Coach of the Year, I got to give that to Brian Flores. The Dolphins looked like they were going nowhere fast at the beginning of the season. And after that Seahawks game, they turned it around. Now, I don't agree with Fitzmagic being benched and starting Tua, but I understand you needed to see what you had in the quarterback that you just drafted. He's healthy. You drafted him with I believe it was the 3rd overall pick. Put him in the game and let's see what he got. So they did that, and he's been okay. But Fitzmagic, he came in last week, won the game. But the reason I got to give it to Brian Flores, because like I said, they were going nowhere fast. And now they look like they're going to be a playoff team, which I hate because that means my Colts probably won't get in. But they're sitting at 10-5, second place in the NFC or AFC East. Sorry, but they've been doing the damn thing, and I got to give credit to Brian Flores for that. And even though he swaps his quarterbacks, but I got to give him credit. He finds out what he needs to do in order for them to win games, and he has their team sitting in a pretty good spot for now and the future. And I love it. I love it. Just like I had to give my props to Mike Tomlin, and y'all know why. I don't need to repeat it. I don't need to say it. I've had a whole episode on it. So I had to give my props to Mike Tomlin. I got to give my props to Brian Flores. But he's doing what it does. He's doing what he needs to do to get Miami some wins. For Miami to win some games and get them in Super Bowl contention. They might not make the Super Bowl, but they definitely can contend for one. So shout out to Brian Flores. You are the Drop Balls Coach of the Year. And now my MVP of the 2020-2021 season. I just gave y'all the 3 finalists in my book: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. And so for me, the MVP of this season is Aaron Rodgers. Now, he doesn't have the 4,700 yards or anything like that, but they're sitting at 12-3. That defense isn't really that great. I mean, they make plays every now and then. They do what they need to do to get some wins, but that offense has been carrying. He has the weapons. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce or Sammy Watkins or Robinson or none of those dudes. The dudes that all of them run under 4.4s. He doesn't have any of those guys. He has Devontae Adams, Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, Tonyan, who I believe is a rookie this year at tight end. But he does have a 3-headed monster at running back. But dude has been balling. I mean, this season is everybody talks about a down year for Aaron Rodgers. Like, even last year they said, it was a down year for him because he threw 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and that was a down year. Those are career years for most quarterbacks. Like, those are career years, contract years for most quarterbacks. For Aaron Rodgers, it's just like a normal thing for him. Even in a down year, you having a career year for someone else. So even this year, 44 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, they're sitting at 12-3, about to make the playoffs again after the whole thing with them drafting Jordan Love. And he's doing his thing. He's averaging 8.1 yards a pass or a completion. His longest has been 78 yards. For some reason, I can't speak today. He has 119.4 QB rating. And he's completing 70.3% of his passes. He's my MVP of 2020. So congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. You are the drop balls NFL MVP. Keep it going. Keep it up. Because you know Patty Mahomes is coming for that title, boy. And I would love to see them two in the Super Bowl. I picked, y'all know my pick. The Ravens and the Cardinals don't look like they even gonna sniff the Super Bowl. But I would love to see Green Bay and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. The two quarterbacks that are like, they're great. Both of them are great. There's no denying that at all. But I would love to see them two in the Super Bowl playing against each other because, everybody says Aaron Rodgers was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. The no-look passes, the arm talent, both of them have crazy arm talent. So I would love to see that. Love to see that. But yeah, so that ends my award show. That ends my podcast. Hope you all enjoyed. Again, Happy New Year. Let's make 2021 great. Let's do great things this year. Let's go harder than we did last year. Matter of fact, let's get these numbers up on the podcast, on the YouTube and everything. And I do want to let y'all know, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Follow Redacted Media. We are doing a giveaway for the once we get to 100 subscribers, we're doing a giveaway. And I believe it was a $50 giveaway for the first 100 subscribers. We're just going to pick one at random, and we're going to give them $50. Yeah, $50. First 100 subscribers, we're going to pick one at random. You get $50. And you know what? I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit. I'm going to throw in a Black Elephant hoodie. So if you're reading this, you're too close. I'm going to throw in one of those as well. So the winner will get $50 and a Black Elephant if you're reading this, you're too close hoodie. So be sure to subscribe to Redacted Media. I'll put the link down in the description. All you got to do is just click the button or click the link, go to the page, hit subscribe, and that's it. That's all you got to do. And we're going to pick one at random. And so when we reach out, be sure to check your information or check it and everything when we reach out, so that way you can get your stuff. But all right, so it's been good talking to y'all. Y'all be easy. And until next time, peace.